Good morning. Thank you for joining me in this morning mindfulness practice. However much you seem to be living in a material world, you are actually living in a world of imagination. That's from Neville Goddard's Power of Awareness, Chapter 13 on acceptance. Man's perceptions are not bounded by organs of perception. He perceives more than sense, though ever so accurate, can discover. He perceives more than sense can discover. Neville tells us that the outer physical events of life are the fruit of forgotten blossom times, results of previous and usually forgotten states of consciousness. They are the ends running true to oftentimes forgotten imaginative origins. Most of us are living in a world that we hoped and wished for and fantasized about years ago. Do you own your own home? Are you working? Maybe when you were a child, you dreamed of being a teacher or a singer. You dreamed of traveling the world. Have you already done some of those things? Some of the things that you've already accomplished, some of your goals have come true. You're living a life that you previously hoped for, wished for, imagined. And maybe you're feeling like, is this all there is? There's so much more to life that I really, really want. Well, we don't have to look backwards to bring into the future what's happened in the past. The past is the past. What you're thinking about, what you do, is creating your future. Neville Goddard says, whenever you become completely absorbed in an emotional state, you are at that moment assuming the feeling of the state fulfilled. If persisted in, whatsoever you are intensely emotional about, you will experience in your world. These periods of absorption, of concentrated attention, are the beginnings of the things you harvest. It is in such moments that you are, pardon me, you are exercising your creative power, the only creative power there is. At the ends of these periods or moments of absorption, you speed from these imaginative states where you have not yet been physically to where you were physically an instant ago. In these periods of absorption, concentrated attention, the imagined state is so real that when you return to the objective world and find that it's not the same as the imagined state, it is an actual shock. You have seen something in your imagination with such vividness that you now wonder whether the evidence of your senses can now be believed. And like Keats, you say, was it a vision or a waking dream? Fled is that music. Do I wake or do I sleep? This shock reverses your time sense. By this is meant that instead of your experience resulting from your past, it now becomes the result of being in imagination where you have not yet been physically. In effect, this moves you across a bridge of incident to the physical realization of your imagined state. The person who can at will assume whatever state he pleases has found the keys to the kingdom of heaven. What state do you want to imagine? Neville tells us the keys to the kingdom are desire, imagination, and a steadily focused attention on the feeling of the wish fulfilled. To such a person, any desired objective fact is no longer a reality, and the ardent wish no longer a dream. Malachi 3:10 says, "Prove to me now herewith, said the Lord of hosts, if I will not open you the windows of heaven and pour you out a blessing, that there shall not be room enough to receive it." The windows of heaven may not be opened and the treasures seized by a strong will, but they are open of themselves and present their treasures as a free gift, a gift that comes when absorption reaches such a degree that it results in a feeling of complete acceptance. The passage from your present state to the feeling of your wish fulfilled is not across a gap. There is continuity between the so-called real and unreal. To cross from one state to the other, you simply extend your feelers, trust your touch, and enter fully into the spirit of what you are doing. Not by might nor by power, but by my spirit, saith the Lord of hosts. Assume the spirit, the feeling of the wish fulfilled, and you will have opened the windows to receive the blessing. To assume a state is to get into the spirit of it. Your triumphs will be a surprise only to those who did not know your hidden passage from the state of longing to the assumption of the wish fulfilled. The Lord of hosts will not respond to your wish until you have assumed the feeling of already being what you want to be. For acceptance is the channel of his action. Acceptance is the Lord of hosts in action. So what if the life you want isn't out there, but it's already alive within you, waiting for you to awaken it? Most people think change comes from doing more, trying harder, or pushing through. But real transformation starts with a single powerful shift, changing the way you think. How do you move from hoping for a better future to creating it intentionally? By changing your mindset, getting clear on what is it that you really want, and getting into alignment. Do you feel called to something more? Let's just sit quietly for a moment and tap in to the energy that creates worlds. The best time to do this is first thing in the morning before you start your day, and the last thing before you go to sleep, getting into a calm space, turning off the TV, the radio, putting away the newspaper, closing the door to other people's noise and opinions, finding a place that you can just be still, taking a deep breath in and letting that go. Getting to stillness. allowing your body to relax, allowing you to tap into infinite intelligence, connecting to God if you believe that there is a God, tapping into your higher power, your intuition, guardian angel, spirit, whatever you believe allows you to connect to your imagination, your creative power. Do you feel called to something more? Bigger results, a deeper purpose, higher levels of fulfillment? Thought becomes creation, and creation becomes your new reality. You don't become that version of you that has $10 million in the bank and time to spend with your family. After you get the results, you become the $10 million version of yourself first in your imagination, in your actions, and then the results follow. In your imagination, you must be the version of yourself who already has your results now. It's not enough to imagine, you must also take action. But the first step is to know what it is you want. Set this as a goal, as a destination, as an outcome, and feel as if it's already accomplished. When you make the decision of what you want, the universe conspires to make it happen. But you attract all you need, all the resources, all the people, all the circumstances, all the money to live your dream as a reality. When you get into that state of being there, knowing what it feels like, being in that frequency, being in the vibrational match for what you truly desire, allowing that energy to rise in you, to feel it, to know it's yours, to assume it's yours. When you have a clear image in your mind of what you want, and you feel what it would feel like to be that, to have that, to know that it's yours, how grateful would you be? How deeply grateful, thankful to God, to the universe. People would say you're lucky, but you know that you thought about it, you got into the state of being that which you want, and then you took action. You got wonderful ideas that seemed to come out of the blue, and you did that. Instead of being afraid of what other people would think, you did what you knew you had to do in order for your goal to be accomplished. But it's not through force. It's not through trying harder. It's doing what you know needs to be done, and then the universe rewards you. The actions that you take create a ripple in the universe, and you get the reaction based on your state of being and your actions. In Neville Goddard's chapter 14, The Effortless Way, he says the principle of least action governs everything in physics, from the path of a planet to the path of a pulse of light. Least action is the minimum of energy multiplied by the minimum of time. Therefore, in moving from your present state to the state desired, you must use the minimum of energy and take the shortest possible of time. Your journey from one state of consciousness to another is a psychological one. So to make the journey, you must employ the psychological equivalent of least action. And the psychological equivalent is mere assumption. The day you fully realize the power of assumption, you discover that it works in complete conformity with this principle. It works by a means of attention minus effort. Thus, with least action through an assumption, you hurry without haste and reach your goal without effort. Because creation is finished, what you desire already exists. It is excluded from view because you can see only the contents of your own consciousness. It is the function of an assumption to call back the excluded view and restore full vision. It is not the world, but your assumptions that change. An assumption brings the invisible into sight. It is nothing more nor less than seeing through your imagination with the eye of God. For the Lord seeth not as a man seeth, for man looketh on the outward appearance, but the Lord looketh on the heart. What do you deeply desire? Plant that in your heart and assume that it's yours. Visualize it. Feel it. Know it. Assume it. Neville Goddard says the heart is the primary organ of sense, hence the first cause of experience. When you look on the heart, you are looking at your assumptions. Assumptions determine your experience. Watch your assumptions with all diligence, for out of it are the issues of life. Assumptions have the power of objective realization. Every event in the visible world is the result of an assumption or idea in the unseen world. The present moment is all important, for it is only in the present moment that our assumptions can be controlled. The future must become the present in your mind if you would wisely operate the law of assumption. The future becomes the present when you imagine that you already are what you will be when your assumption is fulfilled. Be still and know that you are that which you desire to be. The end of longing should be being. Translate your dream into being. Perpetual construction of future states without the consciousness of already being them, that is, picturing your desire without actually assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled, is simply daydreaming. It is the fallacy and mirage of mankind. You want to picture your desire assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled. And from that state of already having your desire, Write out what that looks like, what that feels like. Get into the state of being that. And write down what it is that you truly want. Peace, happiness, joy, a respectful love life. What would that feel like? You must be that in order to receive that. You must become what you want. You must assume the feeling. When you're in that state of being, what you desire comes effortlessly. It's yours. Just be that. Whenever you are completely absorbed in an emotional state, you are at that moment assuming the feeling of the state fulfilled. If persisted in whatsoever you are intensely emotional about, you will experience in the world. What do you get emotionally intense about? That is the coming attractions of your life. Get clear on who you're becoming. And no more dreaming small. Expand your inner blueprint. Set the destination and reprogram your mind through repetition with emotion as if you're already at the goal. What vibrational frequency do you want to be in? Practice that. Write about it. Get clear and give thanks for it already being here. Practice shifting your vibration, elevating your energy, and staying connected to possibility, even in challenging moments throughout the day. When you have a purpose-driven vision, you feel it in every cell of your being. It's not a goal, it's a calling, one that wakes you up in the morning with excitement. When you believe it's possible, you walk away with clarity, momentum, and the belief that yes, you can create the life you truly want. Write it out. Talk to yourself about how wonderful it is. Practice being there in your mind. Practice feeling it as often as possible. Goals are not to get. They stretch you to become the version of you that has already accomplished the goal. Write out what it is, and then sit quietly and ask for guidance for the day. You will receive ideas. Your intuition will nudge you to do something. Take action. Take inspired action. You'll be guided. Well, Ralph Waldo Emerson said, when you make a decision, the universe conspires to make it happen. From that state of the wish fulfilled, in that energetic vibration, giving thanks for your goal already attained, whatever comes to your mind, write about it. Thoughts, plus feelings plus actions equal the results that you attain in life. Now go out and be the version of yourself who already has the results that you desire. Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Create a wonderful day. Thank you for joining me in this morning mindfulness. I'll see you back here tomorrow morning at 7. Thank you.